How's everybody doing? My name's Mike, and we got Miss Maya with us today. So she is a 9-week-old puppy. So we're teaching her how to just interact and live with humans. So one of the things she was doing is she was fighting against leash pressure. So if she felt any kind of pressure on the leash, instead of walking with us, she would just stand back. So we slowly introduce pressure to her, and we keep it very positive with her. Her whole life right now is just like, good girl, good girl. There's very little having to correct her, especially if it's done right the first time. So this is a young puppy. We can teach her what we want right away. So just like this. Okay, this is her release word. Now you see her? You see her kind of, good girl. See, I gave her a little pressure, and then she came. Good girl, good job, girl. Good girl. And see, then we give her a big reward for doing that. And it's very important we don't do that for just any reason. We ask her to do something for us. So, for example, come here, girl, heel. Good girl, heel. Heel, sit. This is how I get her to sit. So I just put my hand under her chin. Sit. Good girl, good sit. Heel. Sit. Good girl, good sit, good sit. Heel. So she's going after my socks right now. Place. Good girl. No, so no. Place. We put her right back on. So what happened is she feels no, and then she feels a little bit of tension, no, a little bit of tension, and then I lead her in the direction I want her to go and tell her place. So as you can see, my socks are like getting her excited, like I haven't worn these ones around her. So something about them, just is making her excited. What I can do, if she's trying to chew on something, I can just give her her bone and let her chew on that instead of going after my socks. And we just keep working with her. And we use a leash to teach, almost everything. So I'm going to get her up and do the same thing. The way we work a puppy is we keep it positive and we keep it short. We don't keep making her do the same thing over and over like we might do with an adult dog. Okay, girl. Good girl. See, no pressure that time. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. So then that's when I give all the love, all the affection. Good girl. Good sit. Atta girl. Good job, girl. Good job. Okay, place. Place. A little pressure. Good girl. Good girl. Good job. It makes them feel proud. Like she's like, oh, I did it. I got off. I got on. It's like it makes them feel proud. So you really want to encourage. See, she's biting her foot. So I just go, hey, 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 and give her the bone. Right? So anytime she bites the leash or her foot, I got that bone ready. Hey, bite that. Don't use a Nyla bone. Use an elk bone. Don't use a bone from your pet store. May have an elk bone section. The other bones are most likely going to be trash. That's a whole nother can of worms to open there. So use an elk bone, and anytime your puppy is trying to chew on something, especially themselves, and say, hey, hey, and then they just throw that at them, or no, and throw that at them. I say hey instead of no, because we're not really punishing her. She doesn't know what. See her looking? Hey, hey. She's licking her paw. I just put the bone right in front of her, and she licks that. Hey, no. That's my dog's also on place over here. That's actually serving as a distraction for her. So we keep it short with her, and we set it up so she has success. Again, this is much easier to do when the Great Dane is 10 pounds. If she was 100 pounds, it would be much harder for me to get her to do what I want her to do, especially if she's already had somewhat of a lifetime of doing whatever she wants. So that's why it's so important to have your dog trained right from the get-go. All right, we're going to work with her again. Now practice taking the bone away from her, Good for her to understand that that's going to be happening. Okay, girl. Okay. Good girl. Come. Sit. Yeah, girl. Good job. And I'm just putting my hand underneath her chin. It just seems to, that's what got her to sit. Sometimes I'll take the puppy and I'll like rock the hips and just kind of go like this. Good girl. She did it because she's used to sitting for me right now. But with her, instead of doing that, it was much easier just to take under her chin, just to go like that, and she just sit back. So we kind of go with the flow. We do what's going to work for them. But she's doing very well. Come on, girl, heel. Good girl. Heel. Atta girl. Good job. Good girl. Place. Good girl. So she's doing a really good job. We're working, so what you kind of just saw us work on was her place command, the okay, which is the release word for her to come off of place. And you see her working on the heel, and you see her working on her come. She comes okay, comes off of place, she comes to me, and then I put my hand on her chin. We're working on sit. So when you see me put my hand under her chin, that's not going to be like that forever. That's just how I started getting her to sit. To get her to come to me, I could just put my hand out too, and she would come to my hand. No treats. We just use our praise as encouragement and as payment for the dog. But we also withhold our praise. So me and my wife in our home, she is not praised for doing nothing. She doesn't just get praised all the time. And a lot of people, they have a new puppy, and everybody who sees the puppy is just kind of praising the dog for doing nothing. And a lot of times they're actually doing bad behaviors, which when you're petting the dog, whatever they're doing, you're reinforcing at that moment. That's why we wait to the right time when she does exactly what I'm asking her to do. That's how my communication becomes clear with her. This is what I want, and this is what I don't want. Anytime we have to, hey. She's biting herself. So she's biting herself, I just say, hey, I grab the bone, put it near her face, and she'll do that instead. So it's all about just being crystal clear on what you want from the puppy, but you have to do it in a way they trust, understand, and respect. And there's only one way to be real clear with the dog, and that is to be consistent about what you do. So the dog is always in training. The dog is never on off time, you know what I mean? There's never a time where we can just praise the dog for nothing. But on the other hand, if the dog's raised properly and then is calm most of the time in most situations, and it can be controlled by the owner, then you can almost do anything with your dog if it's calm, in my opinion, as long as your dog is calm and relaxed. But for puppies, you always want to, 6 months to a year, you use a leash in the home with the puppy, and you stay very consistent on what you want, and that will set them up for the rest of their life and will make for a much calmer, more peaceful life. She already knows that, hey, place, that's her place. So if I get up and I want to sit down here and I want to relax, I can. And if she goes to move, I have a shake hand right here if I need to correct her. You see how she even looks at me different just when I grab it, because this tool has power. So you want to set your puppy up to know how to behave in the home. So that's her piece of furniture. Place is her piece of furniture. We all have our own piece of furniture here. She is no different. She gets her own. My dog gets her own. And just setting them up this way is going to do wonders for the rest of their life. Like I said, you want to do this right away and not wait a year, 2 years after you have the puppy. That's when people usually get rid of the dog, is when they're in adolescence, which begins at 9 months. So after 8 months, the dog is not a puppy anymore. They're actually in adolescence. And the puppy will only stay that size for a little bit. She's going to get very big very quickly. And if a 10-pound puppy is able to resist pressure on the leash the way she was, I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you how it would be to try to teach that dog after it's over 100 pounds and possibly has used its mouth or its body weight to get its way. With humans, they learn that they have power, and what we want them to understand is that there's a totem pole in the home, and it's always the adults or the kids usually. The kids everybody's above the dog. That's the way it goes. So I don't have children, but me, my wife, my dog, then them. That's how it goes, right? So in a home with kids, it has to be husband, wife, and then kids. All the kids are above the dog. And the way to get that across is that everybody on the same page, and just be very clear about what you want for the dog, and only praise her for being calm, like right now. Good place, Maya, good girl. That's a good place, because she's very calm. That's when they can be pet, when they're very calm. So we want to We want to encourage good behaviors, and we're going to discourage bad behaviors. We're always marking what we're doing. If they're doing something good, it's good girl, good place, Maya, good girl. If they're doing something we don't want them to do, it's no, correction, like leash pop, no, leash pop, sit, direction, no, correction, direction. No, and then a correction is how the dog will learn what the meaning of no is. All right, a lot of people will just say no over and over and over, but they never back it up with a correction. That's one of the most important things to do, is always back it up with a correction. Or the shake hand, no, shake hand, place. That's no, correction, direction. That's how they learn the meaning. And of course, when they get good girl, they get good girl, and then they get pet, right? Good girl, now they know a reward is coming, right? Good girl, now a reward is coming. No, they know a correction is coming.